A legislative committee has voted unanimously for a bill that would plan for the reuse and redevelopment of the Dorothea Dix Psychiatric Center campus in Bangor for healthcare, inpatient, outpatient, and supportive housing, as well as other community needs. The bill is sponsored by State Senator Joe Baldacci of Bangor. If passed, it would start the process of utilizing and developing more of the campus to help those struggling with finding housing. According to the Senate Majority Office, about 30 acres of the campus are undeveloped and would be an ideal site for housing. And the bill now faces votes in the Senate and the House.